Orphan Trained Children, Lucy's Wish by Joan Lowery Nixon. From the Journal of Frances Mary Kelly, July 1866. Our orphan train is on its way to Missouri. I hope with all my heart that the children in my care will be placed out with loving foster parents. The children try to be brave, but I can see the fear in their eyes. Will I be chosen? Will anyone want me? Some of the children want only to be comforted, but others ask for promises they must know I can't make. Today, 10-year-old Lucy Griggs tugged at my skirt. Her shy smile and pleading gaze touched my heart. Will you help me find a family? She asked. Of course, I told her. I want a special family, Lucy said. I want a mother and a father and a little sister for me to love. I've always wanted to have a little sister. My heart ached for Lucy. When she was 6, soon after coming to the United States from England, her father was killed in an accident. When her mother died a few weeks ago, Lucy was evicted from the one-room apartment she had shared with her mother. Lucy had no one to care for her until she was rescued by the Children's Aid Society. I tried to help her face the truth. Lucy, dear, I said, if people already have one child, they may not have enough money to take care of another child. But Lucy's eyes shone. Oh, yes, they will. You see, their little girl will want a big sister. She'll be looking for me. She held out the doll she calls Baby and said, I'm going to share Baby with my little sister. I hugged Lucy, unable to answer. Please let it be so were the only words that came to my mind, for I have no way of knowing what will happen to Lucy. Chapter 1. Lucy Amanda Griggs squirmed between the 2 large boxes she had found in the alley. Even though she was very tired, she couldn't sleep. The ground was hard and lumpy, and the bright morning sunlight forced Lucy to open her eyes. She tugged her ragged shawl up to cover her head. Her hair felt damp and greasy. How long had it been since she'd had a bath? Lucy couldn't remember. She smiled at Baby, cradling the doll in her arms. One side of Baby's face was covered with spider webs of cracks, and there was a hole in her cloth body, where Lucy had to keep poking the stuffing back inside. Lucy didn't care. She had found Baby in a trash bin. She knew that Baby needed her, and she needed Baby. The cracks, the faded dress, and the hole didn't matter. From the moment Lucy saw Baby, she loved her. Lucy rocked Baby and sang to her. It was a soft, sleepy song that Lucy's mother had always sung to her. Rock, rock, my baby, oh, rock, rock, my baby. But Lucy's song melted into tears as memories of her mother swept over her. She angrily brushed the tears away. Crying didn't help. Lucy remembered the time when Mom had told her that Father had been killed in an accident. It was 4 years ago. Lucy and Mom had clung to each other and sobbed, but their tears hadn't brought Father back. Lucy shivered and hugged Baby tightly. She thought about the terrible day when Mom had died of cholera. That was 4, or was it 5 weeks ago? Inspectors from the Metropolitan Board of Health had hurried into Lucy and Mom's room. The inspectors were afraid the disease would spread. Cholera had already killed more than 2,000 New Yorkers. Even before the inspectors left, the landlord, Mr. Beam, had ordered Lucy to leave the building. He had clutched her shoulder as he pushed her towards the doorway. It's a matter of business. I've got to clean up that room and rent it to someone who can pay, he said. His eyes were not on Lucy, but on the inspectors. Lucy had been so frightened that her heart had pounded. She clenched her hands to keep them from shaking. But sir, I've got nowhere to go, she had pleaded. Mr. Beam had glanced nervously at the inspectors. He had lowered his voice and answered, I can't worry about your problems. I've got enough of my own. The Board of Health liked to have ruined me last February. They blamed the landlords for the cholera that swept through the city. He had cleared his throat with an angry harumph and added, meeting their demands to clean up and make repairs cost me a great deal of money. I've nothing to spare, so don't be coming to me for help. Weak from fear, but with no choice, Lucy had wandered out to the streets. She had plopped down on a curb, heedless of the hooves of the horses and the heavy wagon's wheels that rumbled near her toes. She had wept in sorrow, but her tears hadn't brought Mom back. They hadn't helped at all. As Lucy's sobs became dry shudders, she had looked up and seen the Olney's butcher's shop across the street. Sometimes Mom, with Lucy in hand, had stopped by the shop. Sometimes she had managed to come up with enough coin to buy a small piece of meat or a soup bone. And sometimes Mom had played with and talked to the Olney's son, Henry. Mrs. Olney looked unhappy whenever anyone asked her about Henry. Never been right in the head since he was born, she said. Can't nothing be done about it. Mom had treated Henry the way she treated everybody else. Henry tried to talk to Mom, and Mom seemed to understand. When she paid attention to Henry, he smiled and laughed. Once Lucy overheard another neighbor say, I'm always kind to the lad. I tell myself, there but for the grace of God go I. Under her breath, so that only Lucy could hear, Mum had whispered, I tell myself, there go I. Later, when they were alone, Lucy had asked Mum, why is Mrs. Olney always so cross? Why doesn't she ever talk to Henry? Mum had shaken her head sadly. Mrs. Olney wanted a strong, healthy child who could work in the shop and learn his father's trade. She's so bitter she can't see that Henry has feelings like everyone else. Lucy thought about the blue and green marble Mum had found and had given to Henry. He had laughed and clapped his hands with joy. You know what Henry likes, and you can talk with him, Lucy said. I wish Miss Olney would try. Maybe someday she will, Mum said. For now, you and I will be Henry's friends. Lucy shook away the memories and slowly got up from the curb. She crossed the street, darting between the carts and wagons, and entered the butcher's shop. Mr. Olney was not in sight. Mrs. Olney stood behind the counter. Gruffly she said, Good afternoon, Lucy. Sorry about your ma. She was a good woman. Lucy nodded, too frightened to speak. Well, what's done is done. That's the way of life. So let's get on with it, Mrs. Olney said. Did you come to buy a small chop? A pat of ground beef? Try not to look at the blood-soaked wooden chopping block. Lucy spoke. I have no money to buy food, and I have nowhere to live. I've come for a job. I'll sweep, I'll scrub. I'm 10 years old, big enough to do hard work. Mrs. Olney's lip turned down, and she gave a loud sniff. You're just a slip of a girl, Lucy Griggs. You're scarcely big enough to lift and carry a bucket of water. But if it's hard work you want, I've got plenty of that for you. In turn, you'll get 2 meals a day and a pallet to put down by the fire. Thank you, Lucy whispered. Hot tears rushed to her eyes, but Mrs. Olney snapped at her. No time to waste on tears. Understand? Get a scrub brush, a large rag, and a bucket from the back room. Those boards of health inspectors might poke their noses around here, so the floor and walls will need to be scrubbed down. Henry followed Lucy. As she bent to pick up a bucket, he reached out and gently touched her tear-damp face. Lucy couldn't tell what he said, but she heard the question in his voice. I'm sad, Henry, she told him. I've lost my mom, and I miss her. I'm sad. Henry seemed to understand. His face looked sad, too, but in an instant he brightened. He pulled the shiny blue and green marble from his pocket and pressed it into Lucy's hand. Lucy tried to give it back. Mom gave this to you, she said. Henry smiled and nodded as he backed off, his hands behind him. You really want me to have this, Lucy? Lucy said, surprised at the joy in Henry's eyes. Thank you, Henry. It's a beautiful gift. I'll keep it forever. Where are you, girl? Mrs. Olney's voice was sharp. Lucy quickly tucked the marble into her pocket, picked up the bucket and rags, and ran to fill the bucket. Lucy worked hard each day, from well before light until late at night, but remembering what Mum had said, she always found time to talk to Henry. She could understand some of Henry's speech. She could make him smile. Sometimes together they played with the marble. Then one morning Lucy awoke ill and feverish. Everything went wrong that day. She spilled a pitcher of milk and then dropped and chipped Mrs. Olney's heavy china platter. You'll have to go, Mrs. Olney grumbled. I can't waste any more time coddling the likes of you. One problem child's enough to care for. Shaken, Lucy begged. Could I say goodbye to Henry? As if he'd understand, Mrs. Olney snapped. Can't you see how busy I am? The last thing I need right now is the two of you underfoot. Get your things and go. Lucy ran, clutching the marble in her pocket. I won't forget you, Henry, she promised. In her shelter, Lucy shuddered at the unhappy memory. She held baby even more tightly. She was startled when a low voice outside broke into her thoughts. Lucy! Lucy!